makes what he says credible because he's on TV. I'm not going to let him disrespect my legacy like that. I'm not the one who threw somebody through a window. I never spit on a kid. I never had unpaid debt in Las Vegas. I never said I'm not a role model. I never showed up to the All-Star Weekend on Sunday because I was in Vegas all weekend partying. All I've done for my entire career is represent the NBA the right way. 14 years, never got in trouble, respected the game. Print that. I'm tired of biting my tongue. There's a new sheriff in town.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about, LeBron. I've been waiting 14 years for this Bron to stand up.
Have you really?
Yes.
That whiny Bron to stand up?
There you go.
Okay. Go ahead. You're on.
I like LeBron's comments.
I love them. No matter the man, no matter the occupation, every man has a breaking point. He can only take so much. And I get Charles. At some point, his critique and analyst was less about the player and more about the man. And LeBron has seen over the years that Charles Barkley will continuously take shots at him. And I get it, because I was a player for 14 years. And let me tell you how this thing works, Joy. If you value someone's opinion, it bothers you when they critique or analyze you. If Mike Ditka, Kellen Winslow, Joe Montana, when they did this, it would have bothered me. It would have forced me to go back like, what am I missing? There have been guys that criticized me. I sat down with my position coach, Brian Periani in Denver. I would ask Gary Kubiak, who's the head coach, guys, what am I doing wrong? Because this is what they're saying, but I don't see it.
Did you respond with personal shots back at them?
It was different then, Skip. Okay. There was no social media because basically, unless I saw the guy on the beat, then I could address it. Now, guys have their own platform. They can address it accordingly how they see fit. LeBron doesn't value Charles Barkley's opinion, and let me tell you why. Because Charles didn't devote himself to the game of basketball. Charles showed up every year out of shape. Charles spent time drinking and partying. It was more about his life off the court than on the court. So LeBron says, hold on. Here I am 14 years deep in the National Basketball Association. I give everything. He had in his home, it rivals the top-notch fitness centers in the country.
No doubt.
They say he spends almost $2 to $3 million a year. Personal chefs, physio, guys to make sure he's at peak condition.
Gotcha.
And for whatever reason, Charles continuously takes shots. Every time he goes on someone's show, he takes a shot. He called it a punk move when he left. He's a free agent. You have a right to leave. The only difference between what the players are doing now as opposed to what happened back then, teams put the big three in Boston together, put the big three in LA together, put the bad boy Pistons together. Now the players are doing it. They have more control than ever before. And they say, you know what? If I want to go play with my friends and I'm a free agent, guess where I'm going, Skip? Charles is continuously making it personal. Don't make it personal. If you want to say, you know what, LeBron, you're shooting too many threes, get on the block and post up. LeBron, you shot 4 of 8 last night, you're 50%. You need to be somewhere around a 75, at least an 80% free throw shooter. Do that. But when you take these shots at him, LeBron has said, hold up, wait a minute. I'm only going to take so much, and I'm not going to take it anymore from you, Charles Barkley, because you showed up every year out of shape. You showed up at the All-Star game at the last minute. But then you turn around, you smile at you see me at the All-Star game, you smile in my face and you shake my hand, and then you get on TV behind the camera, you want to throw shade. I'm done with it. If you got something to say to me, talk to me. You know my schedule. But otherwise, there's a new sheriff in town. Also, here's the thing, one more thing, Skip, before I go. Charles Barkley played in the era, he was never the guy. He always had to take a back seat to Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson,
just about all the stars.
Larry Bird,
I would agree.
Isaiah Thomas.
You got it.
Because what did they have that he never got? A championship. So he always had to play second fiddle to them.
Got it.
And then he criticized all these guys for going around and joining up teams to win championships. You know what Charles Barkley did late in his career? He went to Houston and he joined up with Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Why did he do that? Because Texas has no state income tax? No, he went to try to win a championship. Exactly. He went to try to win a championship. It bothers him because at no point in time in Charles Barkley's 16, I think he played 16 years, was he ever thought of as the best player in the NBA. LeBron James for the last 10 to 12 years has been the de facto best player in all of basketball. and he puts the time in and on the court, and he's a role model. And for Charles Barkley, for you to do what you've done off the court and the way you showed up on the court out of shape and not ready to play every night, I'd be damned if I let you criticize my legacy. Kick rocks.
My turn.
Your turn.
As a basketball star, Charles Barkley never would belong in the same breath with LeBron James. Let's get that straight. I'll give you that point.
Yes.
But let's not kill the messenger here. Charles is doing his job as a commentator for TNT, and he is speaking his mind and his heart about a LeBron James. He is often applauded. Trust me, because I've tracked this closely for the last 14 years on national TV. And in this case, I don't think these are what you term them personal shots. I think he has done nothing but comment on LeBron's basketball actions, his choice of teams, or his choice of this player, or needing more help, or we're too top heavy. It's nothing but commenting on LeBron's basketball actions. Are you with me? Like, show me where he commented on LeBron's personal life, on his choice of wife, or how he treats his kids, or I don't know, whatever. That's a personal shot to me that would be completely out of bounds. This is all inbounds commentary by Charles Barkley.
It comes off as he always talks about the way we did it. We didn't shake hands. We didn't hug and kiss. He comes off as being a grumpy old man that played in the 80s. And the game has evolved, and Charles won't evolve in his thoughts.
Okay, now let's just talk about LeBron James. I do think I've had pretty good insight over the last 14 years into LeBron's psyche, and I've usually been ahead of the curve about where he's heading. And I told you 1 week ago yesterday, this LeBron, after that first blast after the loss in New Orleans, in which he said, I don't have enough help, we're too top heavy, we need more role players and more depth. And I'm saying, you're kidding me. After they went and got you Kyle Korver, you still don't have enough help? And that's the guy. What did I tell you a week ago? That guy is coming unglued psychologically. I told you he's starting to unravel emotionally in ways that are completely out of character for this LeBron James. I have a lot of respect for him as the best player on the planet at this moment, and he has been for a long time. But all of a sudden, completely out of character to issue that blast to reporters after the loss in New Orleans, laced with F-bombs in public from LeBron James, who I've told you before, he's by far the best role model in sports.
Yes.
I've always called him that. He lives up to it in ways nobody can even come close to. And it is hard for a professional athlete, especially one as big as he is, to avoid the temptations that can trap you, as you well know, as a superstar athlete. And he has avoided all of them.
And he's very socially conscious.
He's very social and extremely outspoken in the correct ways.
Correct.
Fair and right ways.
Yes.
Socially. I give you all that. But to suddenly start dropping F-bombs, and as I told you, I don't think he is going to love that as one of his top sponsors, because who is that guy? Where did that come from? And 1 week later, last night, after a loss, ironically, in Dallas, Texas, not Houston, but in Dallas, Texas, which was just, I need to point this out. That was the site of LeBron's biggest meltdown. His biggest collapse, psychologically and emotionally, was the 2011 finals in that very building, in that very locker room from which he spoke last night, when the chosen one became the frozen one after they went up 2-1 on the Dallas Mavericks. Am I right? And that was a meltdown for the ages. Completely out of character in most people's view of LeBron at that point, and it still taints his resume to me. But I'll leave that alone, because now let's go to what he said last night. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I know Charles, his TV commentary over the years has been pretty positive about LeBron. He said a whole lot of good things. Let's just keep that in perspective.
He said a whole lot of bad things, too, now.
Okay, but they're fair bad things. They're right bad things.
I don't really know if there's such thing as fair and bad, but okay.
So he took him to task. He took him to task for what he said a week ago in New Orleans, which was completely justified. You tried to defend it. I don't know how you can defend him saying, I don't have enough help. You don't? You're kidding. After, what did Charles say? Let's go through his line by line, what he said on TNT. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have given him everything he wanted, said Charles on TNT. They have the highest payroll in NBA history. He wanted J.R. Smith. Last summer, they paid J.R. Smith. He wanted Shumpert. They paid Shumpert. They brought in Kyle Korver. He's the best player in the world. I'm still quoting Charles. Does he want all the good players? He don't want to compete? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Well, that's my question. Don't you want to just compete? Aren't you the best player on the planet and you need more help?
Well, then why wouldn't Charles stay in Philly? Why did he go to Phoenix?
But don't try to compare them. He doesn't belong in the same sentence. I get that, but he's still a commentator.
But he said he doesn't want to compete. Charles didn't want to compete. He wanted to go to Phoenix because he thought
Then disqualify Charles for that. I always have. I have little to no respect for Charles as a quote-unquote superstar, and I've said that many times, because everything you say about Charles is justifiable criticism, just as everything he just said about LeBron is justifiable criticism.
Brought to you by 84 Lumber. Are you 84 material?